We're at a new season now. And this is I'm going to quote Mr. Bridgeside here, so you can't accuse me of being partial. Okay. As Mr. Bridgeside says, this is the best time of the year. These first 3 weeks for the Mets are the best. First 3 weeks of the season, the best time to be a Mets fan piece. They're going to hit the cover off the ball. They're going to have a great record.
It's the only time you get to be optimistic.
But like there's a great saying by even like baseball has this poetic feel about it. Baseball disappears in winter. I went to San Francisco and I went to Pac Bell, AT&T, whatever it's called anymore.
Old Navy Park or something.
I don't know what it's called anymore. But there's a great quote along the stadium. It talks about how like winter, baseball leaves us when we need it the most in winter. Everything gets cold and everything. But then as spring, as we start to feel reborn, baseball comes right back around and hits in a stride. So it does have this poetic feel about it that when the season starts getting nicer and the days
Hair
get
starts
longer,
to stand on end.
and you start to feel more enjoyable. Here comes baseball strolling back into our lives, and that's where we are now.
At a slow pace.
And that's where we are. And that's where we are now. So, how do you think of the 2019 Mets?
I think that if everyone can get on the field healthy consistently, we have a shot to win 85 games, 80 games. The 90, 95 game thing. Here's the thing. The NL East got considerably better.
That's the biggest problem.
That's the thing that stinks. Right when the Mets are like, okay, we're making some strides here. We might be able to put, Bryce Harper comes over. The Braves improve tremendously.
He was always in the East. He didn't leave. You were hoping he was going to leave the East, and he just stays.
But he went to a Phillies team that is already on the cusp of being really
loaded up.
They loaded up, yeah.
So the NL East is sitting there as a powder keg where, okay, the Mets might be a fourth-place team and still
with
win.
85.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's become considerably more competitive. Not to say that the AL East with, the Red Sox there and the Yankees aren't going to be competitive because, the Bo Sox are still the team to beat.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was the thing. The Mets did get better. I did like some of their moves. Some of their moves did leave you scratching your head a little bit, but I think overall they got better. The problem was that, like you said, the Nationals, even though they lost Harper, I feel like they made a couple of good moves. Harper didn't leave the East. He went to the Phillies. The Phillies got better. The Braves won the division last year. They're still young. They didn't necessarily add people to get better, but that team is a team that you expect to mature a little bit. The only team that they get better is the Marlins. The Marlins, I mean, they're
the Marlins.
They're dumpster fire.
Their intentions are clear right now. They don't want anything to do with winning a game.
Yeah.
So, that I think the biggest problem with the Mets was what everyone else did. Because the Mets, like you said, they went out there and got better. You got a couple guys you look forward to seeing. Pete Alonso, when he gets it, he's been hitting the cover off the ball.
Seeing Conforto continue to develop.
Agree. I like Conforto a lot. I think I expect him to take a step to get better too. You hope that he continues to do that. You got young guys like Nimmo.
We'll live and die with our pitching
McNeil.
staff.
Yeah.
So there are young players that you need that this year could be a big year for stepping. If those young guys show you that last year when they showed signs of being good, weren't just flukes or whatever you want to be. And they can be more consistent. So even if you don't win the division this year or even a wild card, if you come away with 85, 87 wins, it'll be a good year for the Mets because you would feel more confident going into next year as well.
For me, a victory for the Mets this season isn't even making the playoffs at this point. It's to be competitive and to be healthy. If we can show that our not even just our star players, our young guys who can put together a run of games on the ball field. It's a grind. I understand that the Major League Baseball season doesn't get enough credit for how long and how brutal it is on the body. But like I said before, with the training staff, you have to find ways to keep these guys on the field. You have to find ways to keep them healthy. If it's limiting their time, fine. If it's just doing something different in the training regimen, fine. But you got, guy after guy getting hamstring injuries, lower back injuries constantly and consistently. You're doing something wrong.
Cesar's will be back soon. So,
I'm not holding my breath.
What do you think of the outlook for the New York Yankees?
Oh, the Yankees' outlook this year is fantastic, except for the fact that their pitching might all just fall apart one day, like already. I mean, we're dealing with Severino right now, who's already out for the month of April, right? He threw in 4 games this spring before he actually went down. And you're talking about, it's only March. It's the middle of March, and you already have one of the big guys down. CeCe's likely not going to be ready for day one.
He
Montgomery.
suspended the first 5 games, so it actually works out anyway.
So
Yeah.
luckily we have
That's
that
not
backing us
snake
up.
bitten.
Then we have Montgomery might be back in August, right? And then after that, it's basically you have Paxton, who is traditionally only thrown about 150 innings per year, right? So you're talking about that's a 22 start kind of guy, and you have Happ, who actually doesn't get injured that often, so at least you have him on the back end of the rotation, who's likely going to be there, and Tanaka, who's only got a quarter of a ligament holding the shoulder together right now, so you got to wait for him to see what's going to happen.
He's been doing it for a few years.
He has, but you have to expect at some point that's gonna go.
Well, I feel like the Yankees prepared for this a little bit with stacking up their bullpen
Yeah.
the way they did. They have the best bullpen in the league, but they need their starters. Their stars' health is super important because it's not as deep. Unless you get a couple games from guys like Jonathan Loaisaga and Domingo Herman.
Have them be
Talented
so.
arms.
They're gonna start.
Talented arms.
I mean, Aaron Boone's only going to want 4 or 5 innings from them, to be honest with you. But that's why you need you guys like Happ, Tanaka, Paxton. They need
Yeah.
to carry the load right now. You need good games from those guys.
100%.
Because you're not sure what you're going to get from everyone. Sabathia, you'll get you a little bit from him,
Where's
And they're hitting-
Bartolo
And the
Colon?
hitting is
let's
insane.
bring Bartolo
Yeah.
Colon back to the
they're
Mets
hitting,
and the Yankees
the
at the same
lineup
time.
looks great. I think they made a great sign. We're getting Tulowitzki and DJ LeMahieu. LeMahieu is a very good utility guy. He can play all around to take spots because Didi's obviously out
Yeah,
till
yeah.
July-ish, I believe.
That
or
Yankees
August.
lineup is really hard to pitch to because everywhere in the lineup you go, there's power from both sides of the plate.
Yep.
Well, that's the one
And
thing.
The
It's
depth is incredible
Lefty
too.
is not so. They really don't have a big left-handed hitter because we don't know who the first baseman of the Yankees is right
Sure.
now.
Yeah.
It's still
Yeah.
between Voit and Bird.
You
which-
can't expect that Bird's going to be the heavy bat that everybody hoped that he was going to be.
Yeah, well,
Which is
the
crazy to
Yankees
see
do.
how,
the Yankees are really holding on to it. But I think 2019, I have a good outlook for. The Red Sox are still a team to beat, but you always hope for a little bit of that World Series hangover.
For sure.
And then you hope that their bullpen, which has holes, they didn't sign Kimbrel. It had holes last year, now they don't
Yep.
have Kimbrel. You hope that hole gets exposed more and more. And if they come back down just a little bit more to earth, I think the Yankees could overpass them. But you still got to hang your hat on the Red Sox being the team to beat. They had an unbelievable year last year. And until otherwise,
They're the reigning
like
champions.
you said, they're the number one team in that division right now. But we got a good outlook. I think we got a good outlook for both New York teams this year.
It's the first time for the Mets where I am a
I'm not
little
going to
bit
say
more
that. You guys made the World Series.
optimistic.
You made the guys World Series in 2015. You weren't optimistic in 2016.
No.
It's a Mets fan.
Straight from a Mets fan. That is a Met fan, people.
You
We
can-
will delve into Mets fans eventually, but that is a microcosm.
The
They made the
psychosis.
World Series, and then the next year, he wasn't optimistic.